Somebody say pretty bad?
Yeah.
Why?
My accounting exam is a mess.
Oh, yeah, counting's not so fun. Okay. But there's rules. Just follow the rules. Gap, right? Yeah, okay, you can do it. I don't see Karen.
Engineering, just follow the rules.
Caitlin. I got most of y'all coming in. And Parker. No? Okay, cool. Who'd you guys write down? Who'd you come up with? Tom Brady? Okay. Who else?
Ron Washington.
Who?
Ron Washington.
Ron Washington, okay.
Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great, okay. Who? Who's that? Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. Is it good? Okay, cool. Was he in the service? What branch? Gotcha. Okay, cool. All right. Who else? Huh?
Lincoln. Like Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, Lincoln. I think they said Wyndham. I was like, who the hell is that? Lincoln. Okay, good. Yeah, I read Team Rivals this summer that the movie's based off of. It's like 40 hours long. Learned a lot about Lincoln. It's pretty good. Okay. So today, bear with me a little bit. What did we do last week?
Off-brand Kahoot.
Yeah, quizzes. Okay, had a little fun. Okay. So today we're a little lecture heavy. So hang with me. There's a reason and a purpose. Can we do that? Okay. Today's a little heavy, right? And what I mean by that is pretty advanced stuff, to be honest. Okay. I think it's really important for you guys to know based on where you are in the core right now. So we'll see if you agree or not. Sound good? Who's this?
Winston Churchill.
Churchill. Yep. Did he win World War II?
No.
No. Anybody disagree? Okay. What are we wavering on? Kyle, what do you got?
I mean, he kind of was like one of the handful of people that if he wasn't there, probably would have gone a lot worse.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't storm a beach or nothing, but
Okay.
he did play a pretty damn big part. So.
Yep. Yep. I'll take it. Okay. If we consider leadership, right? Is leadership an attribute of the leader or the system that they are in? See confused faces. Is leadership an attribute of that individual or the system that they are in?
Would his system be like the British government? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
It gets a little bigger than that too as the war goes on, right? Okay. All right. Here's the thing with leadership. It's rooted in communication and narrative. What does that mean? Grace?
Like, for example, there are some presidents who have been, like, good leaders, but the time of their presidency was just, like, completely overridden by, like, hardships or, like, historical events that maybe made them look bad, even if they weren't necessarily a bad leader.
Okay. Anyone in mind in particular, or just?
Just their good names.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll take it. Good. All right. George Washington, our first president, right? Great general. Okay. Screwed up a lot when he was younger. Right? Do we hear a lot about that? No. Okay. Super self-conscious of his lack of education. But he was tall and good looking. So when he'd go to parties, right, ladies would flock to George. Ben Franklin, short, stubby, kind of weird. Right? Had some pretty creepy fetishes if you really get into it. Any history majors in here? None? All right, you're going to learn a lot today then. Okay? Is it a false choice to consider the great man or the alternative? Are we wrong to think about that it's the great man or woman as a leader?
What is the alternative?
That it's not them. Right?
Don't understand the question.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you
they-
mean
these
like,
are-
do you mean like you're only like to only focus and explain the great accomplishments, or to make an emphasis on sharing everything about them? Because he did a lot of bad stuff too.
Sure, if you read a biography about Washington or Churchill, what does it tell you?
His accomplishments.
What they did, right?
Yeah.
That was awesome. It doesn't usually get into the things they did that weren't so great, right? Okay, most of the time. There is a biography out there that says Churchill is the single-handed reason that the Allies won World War II. Is that accurate? No. What's a distinct advantage England had when World War II started?
They're not an island.
Geography, right? That they had the channel separating them. Okay? Pretty strong advantage right off the get-go. Now, they were still getting attacked, okay? But they couldn't just drive tanks across the English Channel, all right? So that's a pretty big difference. If you read biographies about Washington, it's about being a general and a presidency and all that good stuff. Whoever you guys wrote down, okay? Does it tell you all the things that they're awesome at? Is that the only thing they've ever done? No. Anybody read Call Sign Chaos? Anybody want to be a Marine? About Mattis? Have you guys read it? You should, okay? But it's mostly just about him and what he did, okay? When he got arrested as a kid. Is that out there? Now he puts it out there and you learn a lot from it, okay? All right, so backing up. Here's what we're going to work on today, okay? These are not my words. What we're going to cover today is 4-star General Stanley McChrystal's book, Leaders, Myth and Reality. I read a whole book for you guys. Now you don't have to. You get it all in one class period, right? Even though we won't get all of it. I highly recommend it, okay? This is someone career military. This is his perspective on leadership, all right? Did anybody see Hunger Games?
Yes.
There's a character named Plutarch. Okay, that's an actual person. He's a philosopher, right? And he came up with something called Parallel Lives, where he compares two people together. And it's not just about what makes Phil and Brandon, right? Okay, it's not just comparing the attributes to you guys, but your actual morals and how you act. Okay, your different height, right? Different eye color, those things don't matter. How do you act? Okay, so that's actually what McChrystal did with this book. The only standalone was Robert E. Lee, which we'll get into. Okay, Albert Einstein was who? Huh? What? Mentor? Inventor. They said mentor. Okay, I was very confused by that. Okay, inventor, good. What else?
Professor.
Yeah, later in life. Yep, good. What else? What do we know about Einstein? Physicist. Yep, came up with the theories of relativity, of which there are 2. Okay, we're struggling so far. You guys are making me terrified. Okay. Anybody know who Leonard Bernstein is? Composer. Yeah. How'd you know that?
I'm a musician.
There you go. Okay. It's usually people in the band are the only ones who know who Bernstein is. All right. Einstein was a genius. Okay. Even though most of us couldn't understand it, so was Bernstein. Leonard Bernstein was a genius when it came to music. He could write music. He was a great composer. All right. And how we look at them. Okay. How about Walt Disney? Do we know it was a person? Do we not know that? Okay, because a lot of you don't know who Coco Chanel is. Okay. Huh?
She's a fashion icon.
She is a fashion icon. Did she grow up that way? What do we know about her?
She's great perfume.
Chanel number 5, right? Okay. She grew up basically dirt poor and was a nobody. Okay, and became an aristocrat, but made clothes for the common person. Okay, she built an empire out of nothing on her own. Years and decades ago, right? Self-made, changed the world of fashion on her own. Okay, and was pretty good at it. Built up that empire. Walt Disney, what was he like as a leader? Anybody know? What do we know about Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates?
They got money.
So did Walt, okay? Kind of like tyrants as CEOs, right? Walt Disney was very much like that. He knew exactly what he wanted the parks to be, but nobody had ever done that before. Kind of a jerk. Great guy on camera, okay? Made the mouse, everybody's best friend, happiest place on earth, okay? But because of what he was building, kind of a tyrant, okay? Boss Tweed, anybody heard Boss Tweed? What do you know, Grace? Heard his name, Tanner? You're nodding?
It was something with, the Reconstruction era, wasn't it? Or it was, had something to do with the racial injustices.
With what?
No, was it Mafia?
Nope.
I can't remember. I heard the name before.
Awesome.
Dang it.
Solid contribution. Kai?
Yep.
I could be wrong, but I know the name like everybody else has names. I think it had something to do with like the political machines back in like the 1900s. Like,
Perfect. Okay, Boss Tweed was a politician in New York. Stole the equivalent of hundreds of millions of dollars today from the government and everybody else, right? Ended up in jail as he was older and like super fat because he ate out all the time, right? And you know what he said? I'd do it all over again. Zero regrets, okay? Totally crooked politician, right? Built it up, figured out how to game the system. Pretty terrible person. We compare him to Margaret Thatcher. Who's Margaret Thatcher?
British Prime Minister.
British Prime Minister, first
Prime Minister.
First woman prime minister. Held it longer than anyone else in the 20th century. Okay, from 79 to 90. Okay, nickname? Anybody know?
Finally.
The Iron Lady. Okay, again, former chemist. Right? Rose up to be prime minister. Okay. Martin Luther King Jr. What do we know?
civil rights leader.
Civil rights movement. Okay. Was he born into that?
I mean,
When he came to Birmingham, Alabama, the nickname of the city was Bombingham. Horrible place. Black and white hated each other. Not good. He comes in as a new minister, 23 years old, just finished at the Harvard Divinity School. New, outsider, young. Okay? Something starts going on and they ask him to get involved. That's what changed his life and what led him to that. Okay? He wasn't born into this. He was new and had a fresh perspective. And that's why they pulled him in. Okay? Changed the course of his life. And a lot of others. Right? Martin Luther. What do we know about Martin Luther? Anybody Catholic? Not going to like him.
yeah, he wrote the.
Huh?
Left the Catholic Church and created basically the Protestant side.
Yep. Left the Catholic Church. Why?
Because they were selling, being saved.
He also thought that people should be able to read the Bible in their own language and didn't need someone else to interpret for them.
Yep. Okay. Martin Luther said there's some problems with the Catholic Church. Didn't want to leave it. We said there's some problems, right? And he said, and what were they?
Corruption.
It was just the indulgence, right? You go in, there's a giant Catholic wall, and we're supposed to be doing what in church? What are we supposed to be doing? Helping those less privileged, right? Okay, so he broke off from that. Again, sorry if you don't like him, okay? But comparing him to what he did, okay? Harriet Tubman, what do we know?
Started like Underground Railroad.
Underground Railroad, what else?
Well, that's what I said.
Okay, yeah, anything else? Okay. Harriet Tubman only saved about 80 slaves by herself. She would go back, huge risk. If they ever capture her again, more than likely they were going to kill her. Certainly we're going to put her back in slavery. Okay? 4.5 feet tall. Right? Couldn't read or write. Okay? Harriet Tubman, it wasn't just about the people she saved. She became the movement. Here's someone with no formal education, no training in this, could find her way on her own, right, of going north and south and getting people in and out. There was actually people that saved a lot more slaves than her. But she was far more important than them because of what she stood for. She became a symbol. Okay? Now we're really reaching. Anybody knows Zheng He?
Chinese general.
Oh, man, million extra credit points. Okay? Was actually in servitude himself and became up through the ranks of the army in China about 1,800 years ago. Okay? Became a general and an explorer and all this good stuff. Kind of equivalent to like Braveheart to China. Okay? Rumored to be 7 feet tall, right? All that good stuff. Okay? Probably about, 5'2". Okay? Stocky. He was supposedly really stocky. Okay? But absolutely rose up, okay? And they were always kind of afraid that he would turn on them because he'd come up through servitude, but he didn't. He was loyal to China. Okay? Maximilian Robespierre. Anybody? What do you got?
French Revolution leader.
Yep.
His head cut off.
Bingo! Leader of the French Revolution. And how did it end for him?
No head.
They cut his head off. That's a shitty ending, right? Okay? In France, what happened during the French Revolution? You know, Dixon?
They cut off the heads of all the aristocrats, and then they started turning on themselves because.
Yes. Bingo. Okay, here's what happened to Robespierre. He becomes the father of the French Revolution. So we don't like our king and queen. They came up with democracy. Putting it in terms that you guys might care about. Anybody see Talladega Nights? Yeah, when he's talking to Ricky Bobby, and he's like, "What French land give us, Mr. Frenchie?" He's like, "Democracy." It's like, that's pretty good. Okay, all right. We can get into whether it was the Greeks or the French, but that's another story. Okay, so Robespierre, total introvert, hiding in his apartment and with his writing manifestos. Okay, here's what the revolution should be, all this stuff, and they love him, and he's the savior of France, and then they cut off his head. It's a crappy ending, right? Why? Do you know why they did it? Dixon, do you guys know? Do you know why?
They wanted to keep going with the revolution. He said it went too far.
Yeah. Okay, they kept going. They're changing a bunch of things, trying to make their country better. Okay, this is mob mentality. Consider where you've seen this play out. Okay, then they turn on everyone and anyone who had anything to do with science. They thought science was a terrible thing. Okay, so they started cutting heads off. Right, so Robespierre dies with his head cut off. I'm assuming he died. Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. Anybody know?
Terrorist leader?
Terrorist leader. Yep. Okay. The General McChrystal was responsible for finding and killing. Okay. Zarqawi, right, learned his leadership skills in prison. Okay. He's a young man. He's screwing up. He's getting in trouble, and he gets put in prison. I think in Iraq. Okay. And at the time, he was supposed to be there for a long time, and after 3 years, he gets let out. Well, what he learned about himself was he was pretty good with people. Developing your people skills in prison, right? Who needs SOMS? Go to jail, okay? So he gets pretty good, right? And he gets out, and he realizes people like me. He was obsessed with taking down American culture, right? A lot of people wanted us in Iraq and Afghanistan. A lot of people didn't, okay? And he wanted us out, and he was disruptive, and we couldn't find him because he was like Robin Hood. Okay, he was beloved locally because he was a zealot. He was obsessed with it. And he was good at his job. He was good at terrorism. He'd slip in and out of our spy nets all the time. Okay, he would wear disguises. And the people locally loved him. Okay? He was so good at his job and so obsessed with taking us out that he goes to bin Laden and says, "I'd like to join ISIS." And bin Laden says, "I'll be honest, bro, you're a little too crazy." He was too fanatical to join ISIS. That's how obsessed he was. Okay? Pretty interesting cat. And we ended up catching him, and McChrystal kills him. Okay? All right. What the hell are we talking about, Dr. Payne? These are his words. Okay? This is what we're getting into. Just hang with me today. Okay? See if I can blow your mind by the end. Alexandra, are you in? Okay, hang on. All right. Is music art or science? Both. Why?
It's art, but it's like creative, like in the way that you think art, but it's also science, like the way that sound works, the way that
Sure.
works.
Absolutely. Okay, anybody disagree? Okay, I'm on board. What about leadership? Yeah, why?
There are certain traits that make a good leader, but there's still the art of figuring out how to communicate with people.
Oh my God. You can skip the rest of the lesson today. Just nailed it. Okay, we'll see. All right, we'll see. Yeah, you're right. I like it. I will take it. Okay. Zealots, a guiding light in a chaotic situation. Robespierre was a guiding light in the chaos of the French Revolution. Zarqawi, same thing. Different reasons. Okay?
What about Harriet Tubman?
Is not a zealot.
So
She was a
are-
symbol.
Is it like is that all zealots are like that, or
The
all
two
leaders
in-
in a chaotic situation?
The two in these that are zealots are Robespierre and Zarqawi. Harriet Tubman and Jung Her became a symbol. They were bigger than just the individual self. A little different. But good question. Okay. So here we're talking about Einstein and Bernstein. Okay. Which sounds like a detective show or something, right? Okay. Geniuses are similar, right? It's not about their values. We talked about Einstein being asked to be the leader of Israel. It's simply because, this is Elon Musk, okay, in today's terms. It's simply because what we think they can do for us. Right? Should Elon Musk be president? Maybe. Okay, he showed up to an event here a few years ago in the Hall of Champions, and we weren't sure if he was going to. I wasn't there, a buddy of mine was there. He said it was like Jesus walked out on the stage. Right? People lost their minds. Okay? This is what we think of geniuses. Okay? First of all, he wasn't born in this country, so he can't be president. But he does have citizenship. Okay? But it's simply what we think Musk can do for us, right? Is the potential. That's where geniuses are. Okay? 4 leaders. Think about the names of people you wrote down, whether it's people you know or not. CTOs, great leaders, whatever. Okay? We usually, or politicians. Okay? We usually consider style or substance, not necessarily both. Right? There's usually one or the other that we look at. Some people have all the substance and they're great leaders. Okay? Terrible style. Some are the exact opposite. Great style, charismatic, okay, no substance whatsoever. Politicians? Okay, we'll see. Okay, some of them. All right. Again, when I asked first day of class, I asked you guys your definition of leadership. You gave me something pretty much like this: process-driven, action-oriented, influencing a group toward a defined goal or outcome. Right? Yes. Okay. It's executed by the leader, and the effectiveness is measured by the result. General McChrystal, career Army. Now he works at Yale, found in the McChrystal group. This is incomplete and possibly wrong. Okay. This does not cover the deeper complexities and typical notions of leadership and expectations of followers. Robert E. Lee went to West Point, rumored to have never gotten into merit. Perfect cadet. Civil War starting. Who do we turn to that we want to lead the Union Army? Robert E. Lee. What did he do?
Awful.
Huh?
He did pretty bad.
Say it again.
Like he did bad as a general, right?
No, he's the best general in the country at the time. What happened?
Didn't he say yes until Virginia seceded and then change his mind?
He said, I'm sticking with my state over the country. He chose Virginia, who was seceded. He took an oath at West Point to swear to defend the Constitution of the United States. Our best general, in everything he'd been trained and learned, turned on his country. Good leader? Okay, so he goes and fights for the Confederacy. How'd that go?
Pretty good for a while.
He won for a while. What was the ultimate outcome?
He lost.
He lost. He lost. Okay? All the attributes of a great leader. All the skills were there. Lost. Okay? Wasn't there. By the way, does anyone know how Arlington National Cemetery started?
Wasn't it like his plantation or whatever?
Yeah, it was his property. He married wealthy. By the way, if you're gonna go career military, I suggest you marry wealthy. Okay? Somebody who makes some money for you guys. Okay? That was his land. And when they started burying Union soldiers, they were like, we're going to put it on Robert E. Lee's property, and that's now Arlington National Cemetery, which I think is pretty hilarious. McChrystal looked up to Robert E. Lee. Grew up in the South, went to West Point, all this stuff, had a painting up in his house, and over the course of doing the research for this, realized he turned on his country. The guy idolized, great general, the perfect cadet. Okay, we asked him to lead the Union Army. He said no. Okay, won some battles at first. Okay, but he lost the war. And he realized, I can't look up to this guy. Took the painting out of his house. Right? Which I found pretty interesting. Took him a long time to come to that realization. Okay? All right, so, again, hang with me. Couple myths, 3 myths. See if you agree or not. First one, if someone follows a checklist of behaviors, they'll be a great leader. True or false?
Has to be a very in-depth checklist.
So true or false, Grace? Who said false? Who says false? Any truths? Some of you in Switzerland, raise your hand. What do you got?
It'd have to be like a checklist designed for the situation, designed for their personality, designed for everything. But yeah, I guess if it was like,
Can I just give you a checklist and make you a great leader?
if I do it,
But as you said, what if the situation changes and there's no checklist?
then you'll have to make a edit.
Okay, so where do you stand on this?
I mean, I was just kind of, no.
I like it. I want to contrary. You're welcome. This is the point of SOMS. Okay, speak up, please. Okay, but do you think true or false?
False at the end of the day.
Okay. Anybody else? We're all in agreement with it? Okay, cool. Let's try another one. Successes and failures of a team are the result of its leader. True or false? Why?
Because your team has to be on board too. Like you can be a good leader and have bad followers. Like
Yeah, you can. And can the opposite happen?
Yeah.
Can you have a kick-ass team who gets the job done? You have a shitty leader
Yes.
who takes credit for it?
Yes.
Welcome to the Corps of Cadets. Okay? There's one more. Let's see if we're in there.
Shouldn't a good leader be able to make a shitty team successful?
Yes, they should. But can they always?
It's not always, no.
Okay? And, all right, are the results, are the successes and failures the results of the leader? So even if you try really hard, I'm a good leader, and I take a crappy team, and they don't do a great job, who does that fall on?
I mean, I would still think the leader. But
Probably. Yeah. Okay? We'll get into that a little more. But good, keep it up. All right. Delivering results is all that's required for positions of power and accolades. True or false?
I don't know.
False,
I mean,
but a
for
lot of
positions
people think
and
so.
Oh,
accolades.
what do you mean, Dylan? False, but a lot of people think so? Why?
Some people, like, they deliver results as, in the workplace, like say, they're constantly on their stuff, delivering results, getting due dates on time, they get promoted to, say, a manager position. They may not be a good manager, they're just good at their job.
Yeah. Okay? JGID, what does that stand for?
Just get it done.
Just get it done. Did I tell you about the athletic director? Did I not tell this class? Okay, stop me if I did. I have a lot of y'all. Teach too many classes. Okay. There was an athletic director. Young guy, goes right out of college, gets a job in the athletic department. Life's pretty good, right? Okay? And he's kicking ass and taking names, and he's going strong for a good 8 to 10 years. He's moving up, becomes an associate AD, making more money. His license plate said JGID, just get it done. Okay? He gets a call from a donor, says, hey, come have lunch 2 hours later. This is an SEC school, by the way. He says, come have lunch with me. I want to talk to you. Okay? Guy says, great. Drives 2 hours, goes sees them. They start talking about football, of course, first for the first 15 minutes, right? And then he says, the donor, okay, the alumni, the former student, says to him, you're a terrible leader. You're not good at your job because people hate working for you. You leave a wake of devastation in your path. If you look behind you, there's been a lot of turnover. Basically, you're a complete jerk. Right? You're getting the job done, and you think that's all that matters. Wake of devastation behind you. Okay? And he's like, what the hell? Right? That's like getting punched right in the face. Okay? Being pretty much told you're not a good person. Okay? You're not good at your job. With his license plate, just get it done, man. We get it done. Okay? 2 hour drive back to campus. And he's like, screw that. I'm awesome. Keeps driving, keeps thinking. Right? And comes to the realization that he is a terrible manager. Okay? All he cared about were the results, not the people. Okay? So, while he was getting it done, wasn't a good way. Wasn't a good method. Completely changed how he did business and who he was, which is hard. Okay? After he changed, started connecting and caring about people, he continued on his career path and rose up to become an athletic director and make a boatload of money. When he would come in the mornings as the AD, right, of a very successful school that won a lot of national championships, he would check in on everybody on the way to his office. Sometimes it'd take him 2 or 3 hours to get to his office. How's your mom? How's your kids? How's school going? From interns to everybody, all right? 300 plus people, he'd learn their names, okay? That's hard to do. So, is delivering results all that's required? No, not if you want to keep going, all right? The Corps makes, do they? Try, right? By the way, we make leaders they stole from West Point. Anybody didn't know that?
That's kind of our whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're on board. Those are myths. Let's see what some truths are. See if you guys agree. Leadership is contextual and dynamic. It needs to be constantly modulated, not boiled down to a formula. True? This is it depends. Your favorite answer. It does depend. It does. Who said on the situation? It does depend on the situation. Absolutely. Which makes it why it's really hard to follow a checklist. Okay? Just stick with me, man. Wait till we get into 481, 482. I'll ask you guys crazy questions. Okay? Leadership is more an emergent property of a complex system with rich feedback and less a one-directional process enacted by a leader. What does that mean?
It means like the leader has to be able to take inputs from the people he's leading in the situation and use those to adapt what he's doing. He can't just decide what to do and then ignore everything else that's going on in the situation.
Absolutely. A+ answer. Okay. Any business majors in here? Any Mays? Nobody? Has anybody heard of a 360-degree review? Yeah? What is it? You know?
It's basically like you do with your dads.
Yeah, but from who?
Your coworkers and your superiors.
Yeah, superiors and subordinates. Okay, why? So if you're in charge, who haven't I picked on yet today? Call station. Only because his name's awesome. Okay. If he's a manager, he's pretty high up, all right, but he treats his employees like crap, and we do a 360-degree review. What's the feedback?
50-50?
Huh?
50-50?
Yeah, it's not going to be great. If management likes him because he's getting it done, they're going to give him a good review, and life goes on. If you guys all over here work for him, okay, and you're like, College Station's a punk. We hate it. Okay, we're the ones getting the job done. Okay, that's going to show in the review. Would that matter in terms of how you manage your lead?
Yes.
Why?
Everyone's opinion is important, and if your people that work for you aren't happy, then they're not going to produce the same as if they were happy.
Exactly. Again, welcome to Corps Cadets. Okay, has anybody seen this play out? No, never. Okay, so are we on board with this one? Okay, cool. One more. Leadership is a leader is vitally important for leadership, but not usually for the reasons we ascribe. It's more about the symbolism, meaning, and future potential leaders hold for their system, and less about the results they produce. What does that mean? Gushlag, what does that mean?
It means that if you're made a leader, it's not necessarily about what you can do right at that moment, but what you can do in the future for wherever you are leading.
Okay. All right. I'll take it. What else? What else we got? Yes, sir.
Say it's less like getting results right now and like establishing a culture of how things are done.
Okay. I'll take it. Good. What else?
At the end of the day, everyone on the team, to a degree, is replaceable, and that includes the leader.
Yeah. All right. That's absolutely true. Okay. Can you get by without one? Can a company exist without CEO?
Yes.
Sure. For a while, right? We probably need one, but not always for the reasons we think. Okay. Sometimes we just need the fall guy. But sometimes you need the person to make the hard decision, right? Or whatever it is. But it's not always for the reasons we think. Okay? Let's see if we agree. Good job. Why do we follow? Okay? It's not just about outcome. A lot of you guys are interviewing or thinking about interviewing, okay, for positions within the Corps, okay, which is great. I highly encourage you to do it, all right? Leadership is a complex system of relationships between leaders and followers in a particular context that provides meaning to its members. It's a lot of words. What does that mean?
It means that like people will follow someone because it feels like they're doing something that's worth doing.
Okay, I'll take it. Yeah. Anyone else?
Leaders not only are supposed to make a direction, but they're also supposed to like hype up the people on their team.
Yeah, it could be, right? It's not always just about a goal. Okay? It can be about achieving results. But it could be coming to an understanding. All right? Identifying a new hope or identity. We miss part of what makes leadership powerful if we confine it to just one aspect or another. All right? Relationships matter, but simply a leader is someone that people follow. All right? This is an important one for you guys. This comes up a lot. If you're humble and vulnerable, or strong and confident, which is an acceptable leadership style?
At the same time.
If you don't have both, you're probably not very good.
Say that again.
If you don't have both, you're probably not a very good leader.
Right. Sometimes you have to be strong and confident, right? How many of you last year spent, you were getting yelled at, and you're like, I'm a nice person. Stop yelling at me, okay? And you thought, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I will treat people nicely when I'm ahead. What happened when you got there, Kyle?
I never plan to treat people nicely.
Okay, all right, good. So you went strong and confident, right?
Tried to.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. That's fine. Did you lose any fish?
1.
Why?
0.2 GPA. Whoa! I was just fire team leader.
All that reminds me of is Animal House. And I'm not saying this is how this person was, but he says that. He has a 0.0 GPA, and he says, fat, dumb, and stupid's no way to go through life. Okay? And that's a great line from Animal House. Not my line. Okay? I'm not saying that's what happened. Okay? Fair enough. All right. But sometimes, do you need to be humble and vulnerable? Why? Yeah. If I'm just knife-handing Phil's face all the time and just yelling at him and telling him he's a piece of shit, right? How's he going to respond after a while? Yeah. Does he like me? Is he going to ask? No. Is he going to value what I tell him when I tell him to do something? No, probably not. Okay? Sometimes, again, you can even do this with fish. You can even pull them aside. Say, man, how you doing? You don't have to all the time. You don't have to do it very often. Right? But you can pull them aside a little bit and say, hey, man, I think you're actually doing a good job. And if any of your friends ask me that I complimented you, I will deny it to the grave. Okay? But you can do that, right? If you see one that's struggling a little bit, pick them up. There's multiple ways to do it. But I always bring this up because a lot of people in the Corps think they're not supposed to be humble and vulnerable in terms of being a leader. And that's not true. Okay? You can absolutely do that. And sometimes, who's not like yelling and getting people's faces? Okay, fair enough. Can you do it when you need to? But you try, right? Okay, fair enough. If that's not your style, okay. But I bet when you do it, they listen, huh? Probably scares the crap out of them, right? Okay, good. Yeah. Leadership is hard. It is hard, but it's inspiring, right? Leaders are a node in a network, not an apex of the triangle. Its complex behavior should be modulated, read a situation, and adjust to the needs. It's not just top down, right? It's not glamorous or straightforward. It is painful and perplexing. It is not for everyone. Is every cadet that graduates in the Corps going to be a good leader? Is every senior a good leader?
They may be great followers, though.
Could be. And this is the important part where I think, and especially this should come up in you guys' interviews. A lot of you guys, especially once you hit sophomore year, you think you're done following. And I don't know why that is, okay? But everyone kind of fixates on being a leader. You're still a follower in this organization, right? And that should never stop, no matter where you are. I don't care if you got boots or not. Okay? You're still a part of the organization. Followers are actually the one that hold leaders accountable. Okay? Anybody know what the Arab Spring is? Huh?
Yes.
What is it?
It's a series of revolutions in the Middle East.
Yeah. Yeah, Egypt was tired of being run like crap. Okay? It took several decades. Okay? And they rose up and changed their government. Okay? And instituted democracy. What a novel idea. It was the followers that held the leaders accountable. They finally got fed up and had enough. Okay? You can look at this with politics too. All right? I did it in the other class. I brought up the election, but I won't do it on video. Somebody will get mad at me and I'll get canceled. Okay? The leaders are operating parameters defined by the followers, and the real efficacy of leadership lies within the followers. Who can change the Corps cadets? Any of you. You don't need rank or title. Some of you are unfortunately not going to get the positions you're applying for. Okay? It doesn't mean you're done impacting the Corps, and it doesn't mean you can't keep trying to do what you do. You want to be a first sergeant, you don't get the job, you can still look after your buddies, can't you? Sure. Okay? All right. Hang in there. We're almost done. What we think we see in a leader is often more consequential than reality. What does that mean? Not all at once. What do you got?
That like the image of the leader is often more important than like what they actually do.
Yeah. Does the President of the United States impact your guys' lives?
Not really.
Not really. Okay? Maybe some things they do. They student loans, right? Focus on that one maybe? Okay? Right? Does it really impact your life? No. Okay? They can sign bills, they don't create them, right? So, do we need one? Do we? Why, Tanner? There's 300 plus million people here. Why do we need a president?
We need someone to be the central person to make those
But there's 3 branches of government to make those decisions, and they hold each other accountable.
We need a face.
Do we?
I mean, ultimately, yes.
Why?
Because you can't just, if you want to build relations, especially like with other countries, if you send in someone new every time, you're not going to build the same relations.
Then why do we have liaisons to countries?
To manage, not to build.
Okay, was Trump great at handling every country?
Not every.
Okay, do we need a president?
He was like a chain of command.
There is a chain of command, but we already have one, right?
Isn't he part of it?
Yeah, he's at the very top.
Yeah.
Okay, but as me and enlisted member of the Air Force, right, Commander in Chief, do they still impact me? Do I impact them? Probably not.
You help each other out a little bit. You might not know each other personally, but you all have to be part of the same system.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. But I have a whole other chain of command before I got like 1,000 layers before I get to him or her, right?
That's how the chain of command though works, just depending on its size.
Sure, right, and it's awfully big. But do we need a president? I don't know.
Hurting my brain.
I'm supposed to. Welcome to SOMS. I don't know. I don't know if we do anymore. Before, when we had like 100,000 people that lived in this country, probably made more impact. Pascaline.
Could we argue for the same reason that England still keeps a monarch, even though she technically doesn't have a whole lot of political power?
What came out in this book, there's a philosopher, I didn't put his name in here, I can't remember right now. England for a while didn't have a king, a couple hundred years ago. Did the country fall apart? No, they're fine. And they're the ones that actually thought, well, hell, we don't need a king. We'll do it on our own. Okay, we've got other people in charge. We have a chain of command more or less, right? What did they find out? They probably need a king. But not for the main reasons they thought, not to be in charge of everyone.
It's a figurehead.
Correct. Do we need a president? Maybe, maybe not. Think on it. Okay?
Question.
Leadership is about improving humanity, not just the bottom line. They can be correlated. Workforce fulfillment leads to better morale. Does anybody know what a social entrepreneur is? Business what? Mm-mm. No one ever knows this, and this is terrifying to me. And maybe you do, okay? And when you go to Starbucks, Quadbucks, there's that Ethos water or whatever, the bottles of water you can buy. If you buy water from them, they will help drill a well in a developing country. If you buy shoes from, is it Tom's Shoes or whatever, if you buy a pair of shoes from them, they donate a pair of shoes to somebody. It's 100% okay to make money, but the company is designed to make a greater good impact. That's what a social entrepreneur is. This has happened a lot in the past couple of decades when people were retiring with money. Okay, they were like 55, 60, and then they went and started their own business. And they were like, hey, I'm really good at this thing, but I want to help my common man. Okay, that's what a social entrepreneur is, right? And there are plenty of them out there. You need to tell Mays, none of you are in Mays. Okay. We still need to train leaders. Okay, we're still working on it. Okay, we're trying to train you guys into becoming leaders. But it's not about following a checklist of attributes. It's about understanding leadership as a system. They have to see themselves as enablers of that system and adjust their approach based on the needs. It depends. Right? If you don't like yelling at people, that's not your suit. You don't have to do it. Go get Kyan. He'll do it for you. Right?
Sure.
Yeah, see? My man.
I
Okay.
have a question.
Yes.
So, putting the whole workforce fulfillment into the context of the Corps cadets,
Mm-hmm.
could we just say that, like, for us being sophomores to the fish, like, we're giving them a tough experience to show that they can push through stuff? Like, is that how we can put that in context for us?
You can watch my Psalms 381 video from today if you want. Yeah, okay. Yes. Here's the constant argument in the Corps cadets. Does stressing people make them a little bit better? Yeah, hopefully, okay. What if they're not accustomed to it? What if they don't know how to cope with it? What if they've never learned those skills?
They have to learn to, and hopefully you're giving them the tools to learn how to.
I hope so, but what about the ones that punch?
Then, I mean, not everybody's made for the Corps, and I think that's fine.
Okay, fair enough, that is. But what if we just missed the boat? What if it was just reaching out to see how they're doing? Or, hey man, do you literally understand what we're trying to do? or woman. Okay? There's reasons that it happens. Okay? Some of them, yeah, 0 GPA, you got to go, bro. Okay? I get it. It's not for everyone. Okay? I got to basic training in the Air Force, and everyone's like, just keep your head down, keep your mouth shut. I was a little older. I think I was like 24 at the time or whatever. Had a degree. Hanging out with a bunch of 17, 18, 19-year-olds, right? And they were like, just keep your mouth shut and keep your head down and stay out of trouble, right? Probably like some people told you when you got here. And we're in the latrine, we're in the bathroom doing push-ups. Push-ups in the bathroom. I'm not enjoying myself. And there's a kid who got to basic training who could not do a single push-up. Okay? Guy. And he looked like Napoleon Dynamite, and we called him Napoleon. Okay? And I lost it. I'm professional, frustrated. I'm doing push-ups on the friggin' floor of the bathroom. I'm not real happy. I was like, Napoleon, you mean to tell me you came here, you couldn't do a single push-up? And I go off, right? Didn't like just swear at the guy or anything, but I was upset. Okay? I did not even notice that the training instructor, the MTI, had walked out of the bathroom. He had left. Why?
He was expecting y'all to take care of it.
I was in charge. He was out. He's like, my job's done. Okay? And then I got selected as dorm chief, which you get fired a whole bunch, and ultimately I got fired. Okay? You get fired a bunch of times, which I was fine with, and all that good stuff. Okay? But it was literally to see how we responded. Okay? You guys in your buddy group, right? With your buddies. Are there some that are like you can kind of see developing as natural leaders? You could figure it out, right? And there's others that are still working on it. There's some that are going to still blow you away. You guys are only sophomores. You got a couple more years, right? All that stuff plays out, okay, in the system that you're in. Here's what McChrystal said. I found that leaders who exhibited all the right traits often fell short. Robert E. Lee. While others who possessed none of the characteristics of traditional leadership succeeded. Harriet Tubman. Okay? The things we sought and celebrated in leaders had confusingly little linkage to outcome. The study of leadership increasingly seemed to be a study in myth, with a significant gap between how we speak of it and how it is experienced. There's 10 million books on leadership. There's a million theories I can talk to you about. There's all these things that we can do. Okay? There's no one perfect answer. It depends. Okay? I can make you an engineer. I can make you an accountant. Okay? I can make you a teacher, a nurse, all of these things. Dentist. Okay? That doesn't mean I can make you a great leader. It is far harder. Far harder. Okay. What did we learn today? Any questions? Highly recommend this book. I would check it out if you're interested. Okay, it's got a lot more detail than I share with you. What did we learn today? Did we learn anything? Yeah. What did we learn?
Exactly what you just talked about there a second ago.
Which is?
As far as like leadership's very dynamic. As a real leader, you can't have a checklist. It's all about adaptations.
Yeah. Good. Who else? What did we learn?
Hard to be a leader.
Huh?
It's hard to be a leader.
It is. Anything that I didn't just say in the last 60 seconds.
Leadership is complex and ultimately highly depends on the situation that you're in and the people you're leading to be successful.
Awesome. If I asked you to tell me about leadership, is that a pretty good interview answer? Yeah. Off the record, well, it can be on tape, I don't care. But the hardest thing for you guys, honestly, is standing out in your interviews. All of you think you do, but you all say the exact same thing. Honest to goodness, you guys all say the same things and you sound alike. So if you really want to succeed, find a way to stand out and be able to explain it. A lot of you, I'm going to hold people accountable, and I have a good work ethic. You better have a story that proves it. Okay? That's your interview tip for the day. Go enjoy your lunch. Have a great week.